Give your baby breast milk only. Remember, breast milk only for the first 6 months. This message is from the ANRIN Project, Federal Ministry of Health.
Are you looking for the place to buy electronics in Nigeria? Sims Digital Centers have over 30 years of experience providing our customers with quality products and services. We sell only original products at affordable prices. Check out our variety of products, from electronics to inverters and batteries. All our products are covered by warranty. Our customer-friendly staff are always happy to help you find products for your needs. We also have multiple outlets in strategic locations all across Nigeria, so you can always find a Sims Digital Center near you. We offer nationwide delivery all across the country to your doorstep. We are committed to providing after-sales support, so why buy from Sims? Because we guarantee you quality products at good prices every time.
Sims Digital Centers, for the right combination of quality and price.
From Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, this is the News at 10. Live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Ayotunde Balogun.
Hello and welcome. Tonight, Nigeria's 10th Senate passes 25 legislations and 15 resolutions during its first year of legislative proceedings. President Bola Tinubu says the new national minimum wage for Nigerian workers will be based on what the country can afford to pay. And Federal High Court in Kano affirms jurisdiction to hear a suit over the emirate tussle between Muhammadu Sanusi II and Alhaji Aminu Ado Bayero.
And on business news tonight, Corporate Affairs Commission launches new service to register businesses within 1 day.
On sports news tonight, Europe's biggest football competition, the European Championship, kicks off on Friday, with host Germany taking on Scotland at the Allianz Arena in Munich.
From the nation's capital, Supreme Court reserves...
The nation awaits an agreement on the new national minimum wage. President Bola Tinubu says the amount will be based on what the country can afford to pay. The president was speaking at a dinner organized to celebrate Nigeria's Democracy Day, held at the State House Conference Center in Abuja, where he says the unity of Nigeria cannot be traded. Our State House correspondent, Emperor Simon, reports.
Colorfully decorated, packed with dignitaries from across the country. This is the climax of activities to mark the 25 years of Nigeria's unbroken democracy. Alongside their spouses, President Bola Tinubu and his vice, Senator Kashim Shettima, walk into the hall and are received by dignitaries, including the leadership of the National Assembly and some state governors. It's a night of reminiscences and recognition of the efforts of those who took part in the struggle for the entrenchment of democratic rule in Nigeria.
Mr. President, there are some people who are still in detention as a result of the NSAS protest. They were young people who were protesting for justice, for freedom, and for democracy. Any young protester in Nigeria today learned from you, because you were the father of protest in Nigeria. Do something about it. Give them the freedom. You taught us, you funded us to stand up and fight. So they are your children and your grandchildren. Give them the pardon.
Many had thought President Tinubu would not show up for the dinner because of the earlier incident at the Eagle Square where he tripped off while mounting a motorcade. But the president shrugs it off with a joke.
It is a day to celebrate democracy while doing the ballet for the day. I'm a traditionally Yoruba boy. I did my ballet. Democracy is a day that is worthy of calling for.
The president uses the occasion to address a plethora of issues, including the national minimum wage.
About minimum wages. We're going to do it what Nigeria can afford, what you can afford, what I can afford. That's to cut your coat according to your size. If you have size at all, the promises I could make, struggling to bring the food prices down. But those bandits who leave the farmers alone and bring Nigeria back to its glory of production and harvesting.
The president calls on the leaders to make positive changes as he pledges to hand over to the younger generation a banner without stain. From the presidential villa, Emperor Simon, Channels Television News.
To security now, as part of efforts to stem the tide of insurgency in the country, the Defense Headquarters has announced the killing of 197 terrorists, in addition to the arrest of 310 others. Addressing a news conference in Abuja, the Director, Defense Media Operations, Major General Edward Buba, says the military will continue to kill terrorists and insurgents as long as they threaten the peace of Nigeria as a nation. General Buba equally announced the arrest of some members of the indigenous people of Biafra and Eastern Security Network responsible for the murder of 5 soldiers at a checkpoint in Abia State.
Our war effort is designed and crafted to not just defeat the terrorists, but to destroy them, as well as dismantle their terror infrastructure, which include their military capability, their administrative capability, as well as their logistic capabilities. Now, following the killing of 5 personnel at the checkpoint in Abia State, troops conducted several intelligence-based operations, and these operations led to the discovery and destruction of several indigenous people of Biafra and their Eastern Security Network cohorts terrorist camps across the southeast region. Now, several arrests were made, and those who were found not to have any connection with the incident were released, while several others, culpable, are still in detention.
Staying with security, troops of Sector 6 Operation World Punch have killed a notorious kidnapped bandit, Buhari Alhaji Halidu, popularly known as Buhari Nyadi, during an operation in Giwa local government area of Kaduna State. According to a statement by the Kaduna State Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, Samuel Arawan, the terrorist kingpin, who is one of the deadliest bandit leaders terrorizing northern Nigeria in the last decade, was killed by the security forces along with 35 members of his gang. The statement further states that Buhari Nyadi and some members of his gang were neutralized during a fierce gun battle with troops of Operation World Punch around Idasu Forest at the boundaries between Giwa local government of Kaduna State and Sabuwa local government of Katsina State. As a result of the injuries sustained by some of the fleeing bandits, the Kaduna State government has alerted residents of the state not to render assistance to individuals carrying suspicious injuries, but to immediately report such to security agencies. And as conversations continue on how best to tackle the nation's insecurity challenge, some stakeholders have identified the lack of political will as a major impediment to addressing the issue. Participants at Channels Television's Town Hall on Security believe that the nation can overcome its insecurity challenge by taking some tough decisions. And some of those in attendance include the Zamfara State Governor, Dauda Lawal, and the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa.
It's not about the law. There are three fundamental things.
Channels Television hosted the first-of-a-kind security summit to proffer solutions to the nation's security challenges. Those in attendance included representatives of security agencies led by the Chief of Defense Staff, lawmakers and experts. Governor Dauda Lawal of Zamfara State joined the conversation virtually. The conversation started with a panel session where the speakers reeled out their concerns about the country's security situation.
There are 370,000 policemen, so there is issue of lack of manpower, there is issue of inadequate funding, there is issue of capacity, there is issue of information sharing, there is issue of intelligence, there is issue of partnership, there is issue of community-based policing, where the communities will now partner with the police and let us know exactly what we want.
We've got security votes that have been part of our entire sort of democratic system. Ask the politicians, ask the governors, what have they done with those security votes? And we've seen that some of them have been conduit pipes.
One of the easiest things the president can do, for example, is to give out an executive order, making it a punishable act if an intelligence is not shared. Right now, if you don't share an intelligence, you've not committed any crime.
Parliament is also looking critically at the state police bill. It is something that we are working at seriously to ensure that same is passed as soon as possible. We've had issues. Some states say they don't want state police. Some say they want.
The Zamfara State Governor aligned with the calls for state police, stressing that the security situation in the country cannot improve without the prime input of state governors.
If I have my own military, if I have my own police or civil defense in Zamfara State, believe me, I don't need to look anywhere or elsewhere. I'll be in full control, and I know where the issues are, and I'll be able to face these issues head on. But like I said, I don't have control over the security outfits.
He also aligned with the result of Channels TV's online poll, which largely attributed to delayed progress in addressing insecurity to lack of political will.
If there is no political interference in all these things, believe me, it's just a matter of time. We will be able to solve all these security challenges in the country. You know, he who wears the shoes knows where it hurts. And that is why I'm telling you there's so much political interference. These guys should be allowed to do their work. They're professionals.
The Chief of Defense Staff spoke on the progress made so far in tackling insecurity, especially in the northern part of the country.
I was the theater commander in Operation Hatinkai for 19 months. By the time I left there, we had over 75,000 that have surrendered. Now we have over 120. To tell you that we are succeeding. We take out over 600 bandits, terrorists, insurgents on weekly basis. Where my men have the greatest challenge is IEDs because there are no road infrastructure.
He also addressed concerns around the security threats in the southeast.
We have repeatedly complained about the issue of Simon Epa. He is in Finland. The Finnish government are giving him all the support and he's doing what he's doing. Comments he's making. People are being killed and nothing is being done. And this is democracy. If the European Union is the one supporting democracy and this is happening and they're not taking action, then they don't mean well for Nigeria.
My name is Sheila Kujobi.
It was indeed a town hall where members of the audience had the opportunity to engage the panelists on critical areas.
We as a people of Nigeria, we've done our best to keep our nation together.
It is expected that solutions proffered at this town hall would be adopted by relevant stakeholders to chart a new course and trigger the desired change in the security situation in the country.
Barely 2 weeks after over 30 mining workers were buried following the collapse of a mining pit in Shiroro local government area of Niger State, another mining pit has collapsed in Adunu community of Paikoro local government area of the state. A preliminary information from the mining pit collapse says an unidentified number of miners were buried in that pit. Confirming the incident to Channels Television through a telephone conversation, the state chairman of the Miners Association of Nigeria, Niger State Chapter, Yusuf Shuaibu, says the pit caved in around 10 a.m. today, trapping workers whose number has not yet been confirmed. According to him, the association has mobilized a team for an on-the-spot assessment to the scene of the incident with support from the Niger State government. In part two, after the break, Federal High Court in Kano affirms jurisdiction to hear a suit over the emirate tussle between Muhammadu Sanusi II and Alhaji Aminu Ado Bayero. Please stay with us.
There's a lot of fear in the journey towards building wealth, especially in an ever-changing economy like ours. And you know why that is? It's because navigating the world of investments without facts and insights is like walking in the dark. But that fear stops now. Opportunities open up to you when you have a trusted guide. Someone with over 28 years of experience advising individuals, corporates, and governments to achieve their dreams through strategic and well-timed investments. That someone is AfriInvest. The journey of 1,000 miles is easier when you have a trusted guide and partner who knows the way. So, take the first step. AfriInvest, simplifying investments, creating wealth.
We see you, how you work hard at your craft, doing your absolute best. We know how the protein, calcium, and vitamins in Dano milk nourish you to go for it. For those big dreams, for your hustle, and for quality time with those you love. So when it comes to choosing nourishment, never compromise on the quality milk that you deserve. Go for it.
Aha! Bro, I tell you, this man sees the rule. Okay. If I win you, something will come out.
Don't play with me. Fast ball. Ah. You know what? You go shot.
Bro.
Now we got this man.
Keep the banter going. Glow. Borrow me credit and data. Dial star 303 hash to borrow airtime or data and pay later.
Is it ready?
Only one thing I didn't.
Power your relentless ambition with ultra-high-speed data. Glow Unlimited.
Nigeria's 10th Senate, Senator Yemi Adaramodu. The Senate spokesperson said this today while giving a scorecard of the 10th Senate in the last 1 year at a media briefing in the nation's capital, Abuja. According to Senator Adaramodu, the 10th Senate has performed well based on 3 key parameters of lawmaking, oversight functions, and advocacy for constituents. Our National Assembly correspondent Gloria Omezoke reports.
Exactly 1 year ago, members of the 10th Senate assumed office and elected Senator Godswill Akpabio as the president of the Senate.
I, Senator Godswill Akpabio, Commander of the Order of the Niger,
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
The election into the leadership of the Senate is always greeted with tension, and the 10th Senate was not immune. The election of the principal officers of the Senate did not go smoothly, as some members of the minority caucus questioned the emergence of the principal officers.
I just want to plead with my colleagues to understand that my job here is not to take individual opinions or to work on the basis of what is convenient to you.
In every situation, some people will be for and some people will be against. And that's the spirit of democracy. But the preponderance of opinion takes the day.
There's no crack in the Senate. You don't know. Yes, the parties may differ, but we are one. It's a gradual process, but we are getting it right.
In the period under review, the lawmakers passed the 2024 budget in line with the January to December cycle. The drama that has always trailed budget passage in the parliament reared its head as some lawmakers alleged budget padding by the Senate leadership.
It's no new thing. I have here a copy of the last 3 budgets that was passed. All the details of these agencies I've mentioned are not contained in this document.
The senator representing Bauchi Central, Senator Abdul Ninge, was eventually suspended over his alleged accusation.
Having posted falsehood, is hereby suspended.
The 10th National Assembly prides itself in its legislative agenda, which the leadership considered people-centric. 1 year down the road, the lawmakers have initiated 477 bills, of which 25 have been passed into law, while 120 resolutions were reached. The Senate composed 74 standing committees from the 63 committees under the 9th Senate. The Senate spokesman, Senator Yemi Adaramodu, believes the Senate has done well for Nigerians and gives his ratings.
I can rate the performance put together, the 3 aspects, that is lawmaking, oversight functions, and advocacy for the constituencies. I can rate us 9/10.
He also speaks on passage of the national minimum wage.
To the National Assembly. But when it comes, whatever is there and whatever is not there, we are going to ensure that it's going to be watertight. That either it is state or national or organized private sector that is not complying, then there's going to be sanction for it.
One issue that has trailed the leadership of the Senate is the report that the executive has a major influence on the activities of lawmakers.
Our policy is very simple. It's people-centered. We are more interested in what benefits Nigerians. Sometimes even the government brings out policies, and we'll shoot the policy down because we believe that the timing is wrong for the benefit of Nigerians.
As the first year of the 10th Assembly wraps up, one of the key issues that awaits the attention of lawmakers is the amendment of the 1999 Constitution, and this is happening amidst calls for a proper regional restructuring of the country. Gloria Umezuke, Channels Television News.
And now to the courts, where Justice Liman Muhammad of the Federal High Court in Kano has ruled that the court has jurisdiction to hear the case filed by one of the Kano kingmakers, Aminu Baba Danagundi, seeking an ex parte motion to restrain the state government from reinstating Muhammadu Sanusi II as Emir of Kano. After several citations and reliance on the provisions of Section 42(1) of the 1999 Constitution, Justice Liman ruled that the Federal High Court has jurisdictions to hear the case of human rights violation against Aminu Baba Danagundi and dethroned Emir Aminu Ado Bayero.
The court has ruled that it has jurisdiction, and that is the business of the day. The last time we were here, the argument was whether the court had jurisdiction to entertain this case or not. But today, we have successfully convinced the court that the court has jurisdiction, and we are coming back here tomorrow to take other applications.
However, counsel to defendant says his team will take time to study the ruling.
This is the court of first instance. It's not the final court. So we are going to meet our clients, discuss with them, go through the ruling line by line, and see whether
they have, the option to appeal. But what we keep asking, as we rightly said in the other version in the Hausa, is the fact that which of the rights of the applicant has been breached. He is not an emir that will have said he has been dethroned. He has never been, there was never a time he has been coming to the court all through. So I don't know whether his right to any of the liberty he claimed as for movement or whatsoever, you understand, has been breached. But that is the wisdom of the court. The court felt that it has jurisdiction. So that is not the end of the matter. What the court is saying is that come and address me. Now let's proceed with the case because I have jurisdiction. So the jurisdictional issue is what was determined today, no any other matter. The substantive matter will be heard by tomorrow. So we'll now see whether jurisdiction alone can, give the courts powers based on its finding to sustain the application before the Honorable.
So now let's head to the nation's capital where Markwe Ogun Yusuf is standing by to give us the very latest from our Abuja studio. Hello, Markwe.
Hello, Ayo. Well, we're still at the court, but this time from the highest court in the land, the Supreme Court, which has now reserved judgment in the suit of the federal government against the 36 state governors seeking full autonomy for the 774 local government areas in the country. Justice Garba Lawal told the parties in the matter that they will be communicated with once the judgment is ready. He announced the reservation of the judgment after the 7-man panel of the Apex Court had adopted the processes filed by the Attorney General of the Federation, Mr. Lateef Fagbemi, SAN, on behalf of the federal government, and those of the 36 state governors. At the day's proceedings, the Attorney General of the Federation asked the court to grant all the reliefs sought by the federal government in the suit. The governors, through their respective state attorneys general and commissioners for justice, however, opposed the request of the federal government and asked the court to dismiss the suit. The AGF is praying the Apex Court for an order restraining the state governors from unilaterally and unlawfully dissolving democratically elected local government leaders. While still at the courts now, the Federal High Court in Abuja has adjourned the arraignment of the former governor of Kogi State, Mr. Yaya Bello, on an alleged money laundering case instituted against him by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission to June the 27th, following an agreement by the counsel of the two parties. The new date, June 27, had been reportedly fixed for arraignment at the instance of the EFCC counsel. At the resumed hearing, a counsel to Mr. Bello, Adeola Adedipe, told the court that the EFCC lawyers approached the lead counsel to the former governor, Abdul Wahab Mohammed, that the June 13 date would not be convenient for them to proceed with the arraignment. Justice Wite thereafter adjourned the case to June 27 after an undertaking by Mr. Bello's lawyers that the defendant will appear in court on that day. Meanwhile, the Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja has set aside contempt proceedings initiated by the former governor of Kogi State, Mr. Yaya Bello, against the chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Mr. Olanipekun Olukoede. In a unanimous judgment read by Justice Joseph Oyewole, the court set aside the proceedings while overruling the respondent's preliminary objection, citing technicalities. The appeal court held that the trial judge failed to extend the orders of 9th of February in its final judgment of April the 17th. He said the second issue raised by the former governor on the interim order had become an academic exercise. The appellate court had earlier granted an ex parte motion for stay of contempt of proceedings filed against Mr. Olukoede by the former governor. The EFCC chairman had been summoned to appear before the Kogi State High Court in May to show cause why he should not be committed to prison for disobeying its orders. And staying with matters of justice, Kaduna State Governor Sani has granted pardon to 110 inmates from the Nigerian Correctional Center in the state as part of activities to mark this year's Democracy Day, as well as celebrate his 1 year in office. The governor, who personally visited the Kaduna State Correctional Center in company of human rights lawyer Mr. Femi Falana, SAN, says his decision to release the 110 inmates is in line with the prerogative of mercy powers conferred on him by Section 212 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
The Kaduna Correctional Center was built in 1915 to accommodate a total number of 500 inmates. Currently, The center has over 3,000 inmates, with those awaiting trial topping the number. The Kaduna State Governor is at the correctional center to grant pardon to 110 inmates, in line with the prerogative of mercy conferred on him by Section 212 of the 1999 Constitution. The governor is accompanied by human rights lawyer and senior advocate of Nigeria, Mr. Femi Falana, and top members of his cabinet. Out of the 110 inmates, 22 convicts were released on pardon under the prerogative of mercy, while the 88 others convicted with the option of fines had them resolved.
Thank you very much. I will please take our seats.
The controller of Kaduna Correctional Service, Isa Muhammad, commended Governor Sani for his show of love, which he believes will help in decongesting the overstretched facility. He also solicits the governor's support in the areas of logistics and infrastructure.
The custodial center in Kaduna and its environs is facing some challenges. Some of these challenges are high number of awaiting trial. If you can see the number of breakdowns that I've given to you now today, the total number of inmates that we have on our awaiting trial today is 1,535, just here in the custodial center in Kaduna today, which form 90% the bulk of the inmates in the custodial center.
Having been detained in such facilities in the struggle for the return of democracy, the emotional Governor Sani says he decided to release the inmates to give them a second chance.
All of you who are convicts and who have earned my sympathy and pardon today must assure me that you will not go back to the bad ways that necessitated your being here and for which we are granting you pardon.
He urged the released inmates to be of good behavior going forward and pledges to support the correctional center to cater to the welfare of inmates.
For avoidance of doubt, I am releasing a total number of 110 convicts today to mark the celebration of 2024 June 12 Democracy Day.
Describing Governor Sani as one of the promoters of democracy in Nigeria, human rights lawyer Femi Falana urges state governors to invest in the nation's correctional centers. He also appeals to state chief judges to order periodic inspection of police stations and other detention facilities to curb illegal detention.
Since the chief judge is represented here, my lord, please request the chief judge to perform his statutory duty under that law by making sure that all chief magistrates in the state visit all police stations at least once a month. This is the only way to prevent unnecessary arrest and congestion of our prisons.
A representative of the pardoned inmates assures Governor Sani that they will turn a new leaf and make him and their families proud.
The pardon and mercy that he has shown to us, we are going to reciprocate it just like he said, by being good citizens, and will represent in such a way that he himself will be proud that he showed us mercy.
As the 110 now former inmates of the Kaduna Correctional Center head back to their respective homes and communities, it is hoped that they will keep to their promise to live as better citizens and add value to their families and the society in general.
Still ahead, corporate affairs
Develop a formula to tackle their own peculiar drug problem. Stakeholders in Nigeria are asking for increased collaborative effort by adopting scientific evidence-based approach that prioritizes prevention and treatment. This was the crux of the conference organized by MTN Foundation in Lagos in commemorating the World Drug Day and to review the foundation's anti-substance abuse program as a multi-sectoral platform to increase awareness of the negative impact of substance abuse and addiction among the youth.
Key stakeholders to advance this campaign.
As part of activities to mark this year's World Drug Day, telecom giant MTN Nigeria
brings together its partners and stakeholders in this conference to evaluate the anti-substance abuse program campaign in the last 5 years and to deliberate on new strategies in handling drug-related issues going forward. The theme for this year is talking about everyone having to get involved in preferring solutions to emerging drug-related issues.
The theme also talks about the issue of prevention. And on this occasion of the commemoration of the International Day against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking, we want to be able to say that we must redouble our efforts to ensure that we address the issue of prevention.
Drug prevention remains a key focus of the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, working with MTN to improve the country's drug response. The international agency says Nigeria must invest heavily in prevention to take on the challenge of the projected increase in drug use.
If the country is to take on the challenge of this projected increase in drug use, it is imperative to adopt a scientific, evidence-based approach that prioritizes prevention and treatment.
The panel session reveals other stakeholders' opinion on how to educate youth on drug abuse and provide support for drug addicts.
It's not only about book knowledge, it's about the ability to empathize and give help as much as you can and put yourself in their own context and then get better results. I think private organization needs to do a lot more.
In another part of the event, the representative of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency speaks on the agency's collaboration with MTN.
MTN is a communication outfit, and therefore it's easy by its technology and network to be able to spread the message. And in partnership with the NDLA, it makes the job of NDLA much more easier. Since 2019, the anti-substance abuse program has been dedicated to engaging, informing, and educating millions of young people on the menace of substance abuse as part of a plan towards creating a drug-free nation.
Nigerian businesses and large-scale manufacturing companies need to consider integrating solar energy into their operations as a way to reduce costs and increase efficiency. This was part of the discussion at the Renewable Energy Summit organized by Rivercube, an end-to-end solar energy solution provider. Olariwaju Ogunkole, the CEO and founder of Rivercube Energies, says solar systems work and are scalable.
I want to welcome everyone. Sir, thank you for joining us today, sir.
Business and school owners, energy enthusiasts, and vendors of solar-powered products are together sharing ideas on the future of solar energy and its impact on the survival of business operations.
I hope you are learning something.
The Renewable Energy Summit, taking place in a solar-powered hall, is courtesy Rivercube Energies.
We consciously started helping businesses since January this year to start setting up solar systems that can cut their costs and also give them a long-term plan around their finances for power. And I will proudly say that since then, we've installed almost 5.2 megawatts of power. So I'm talking 100 kVA in some schools, 105 kVA. So we currently power schools, residents, construction sites, and maybe one day event centers, because this almost like an event center do.
For its clean, safe, and renewable property, solar energy appears to be the way forward to tackle the country's energy crisis.
Here, I'm also very pleased to announce that our solar products have passed the rigorous tests and international authorities and obtained a number of certifications. This is not only an affirmation of the quality of our products, but also a recognition of the credibility of our brand.
But where funding becomes a challenge, Globus Bank says they are set for the journey.
And we'll have a handshake. We'll agree on how to work around that together with Rivercube. And of course, at the end, every one of us will smile. Isn't that beautiful?
And there is a message for those wishing to transition to the renewable energy space.
For energy providers like Rivercube,
There are tax incentives. There are grants with central bank. The law may not know. Grant is what you get for free, no nothing, you don't pay back. That's a grant. They are there at the central bank. People don't exploit it.
It's exciting that even on a cloudy day without the sun, we could effectively power the event venue with the air conditioners, the sound systems, the lighting, all on solar systems. So it's exciting for me to see this come to a success. And that's one of the good news we want to share out there, that solar systems really work very well.
With the summit done, RevoCube Energies, a solar energy solution provider, says it's prepared now more than ever to help users harness the power of solar energy and save money.
All right, Will Ibong is standing by for some more business news. Will, over to you.
Banking, so easy, so simple. Dial *894# now to experience it. You first, First Bank.
Thank you, Ayotunde, and welcome to Business News. Now, in a major move to streamline business operations, the Corporate Affairs Commission, CAC, has launched a new service allowing businesses to register and obtain names within a single day. In partnership with the petitioners of Content Creators, Skit Making and Influencers Guild of Nigeria, the CAC plans to register 5 million businesses within a year. This initiative aims to curb the proliferation of unregistered cryptocurrency vendors who often operate illegally and are linked to scams. Now, the management and board of Skyway Aviation Handling Company, SACO PLC, have expressed the company's commitment to safe operations by combining qualified staff, well-maintained equipment, and appropriate processes and procedures. The company executives gave the assurance at the 14th annual general meeting of the company for the financial year ended December 31, 2023, where the chairman of the board, Dr. Taiwo Afolabi, announced a dividend of 30 kobo per share for shareholders.
The 14th annual general meeting of Skyway Aviation Handling Company PLC holds in Lagos, with many shareholders joining virtually. It's an opportunity for the company executives to present a brief overview of the company's operational and business performance for the year 2023.
Our company was able to demonstrate resilience despite the effect of the harsh economic realities on the year-end financial results. The board is recommending for your approval the sum of 406,074,000 as dividend. This works out at the rate of 30 kobo per share, which is higher than the dividend paid in the previous financial year.
The shareholders also passed a vote of confidence on the board and management of the company, hoping for better years ahead.
I would like to use this opportunity as a shareholder to recommend the entire management and the board of SACO PLC, because we have seen a wonderful result, an excellent dividend compared last year. And I hope, God willing, by next year we will see a lot of changes, especially by appointing new managing director, chief executive, who is a lady, and we know the kind of leadership she have done and what she play, the role she play in Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria.
On the outlook of the ongoing year and the projection for years to come, the board and management of SACO PLC expresses the company's commitment to continue delivering top service to customer airlines, aircraft operators, and employees.
My message for the shareholders is that since they have seen what we are doing, we need their support and their encouragement for the board and the management of SACO. So once they encourage us, we do more.
We hope to have sustained economic growth, and therefore we're working on customer-centric products. We're targeting our customers, having strategic partnerships, expanding the revenue base, our products base too, investing in advanced eco-friendly technology, training our staff, going for audits, staff audits, equipment audits, operational excellence, and review of our costing and operational cost. That's how we hope to improve and sustain our steady growth.
As the company looks ahead to even a brighter future, its management says it will continue to be deliberate about corporate governance every step of the way.
And staying with strong sentiments there, we head to the domestic stock market, which resumed the Democracy Day holiday with bullish sentiments as investors showed interest in Nigerian breweries and O&O. Ladi Williams tells us more.
Hello and welcome to the Stock Market Report. Well, trading day right after Democracy Day, and we see the bulls in action, 0.20% up, still below that 100,000 psychological level, but we see the market cap 56.47 trillion. Let's look at the gainers counter today. We see top of that chart, Nigerian Breweries PLC, 31 naira 90 kobo to close, up 10%. Unity Bank is also on the top gainers counter. 1 naira 22 kobo, 9.91% jump there. We see Dam Insurance also on that counter. Let's look at the losers counter now. We see ETI stopping that counter down 9.92%, 21 naira 35 kobo. We see Dow Communications also down by 8.77%. Well, final trading day of the week. That's tomorrow. We'll see if the all-share index can at least get above that 100,000 level again this week. But today, it's the bulls.
Fingers crossed for that, Ladi. Now let's check out the closing performance for other major equities. And that's a wrap on business. It's back to Ayotunde for the rest of the news at 10.
Banking, so easy, so simple. Dial star 894 hash now to experience it. You first, First Bank.
Many thanks, Will. And we have one more from the courts. A federal high court in Abuja has fixed June the 26th to hear a suit seeking the removal of the national chairman of the All Progressives Congress APC, Abdullahi Ganduje. Justice Inyang Ekwo fixed the date after the plaintiff's lawyer, Benjamin Davu, sought the leave of the court to allow time to reply to Mr. Ganduje's preliminary objection. The plaintiff in the case, the North Central APC Forum, is in the suit challenging the propriety of Ganduje's appointment as the chairman of the APC when he is not from the North Central geopolitical zone. The plaintiff wants the court to, among others, declare that by Article 21 of the APC Constitution 2013, as amended, Ganduje cannot be appointed as the national chairman of the party other than through democratic conducted elections, and that his current occupation of the office is illegal. Pilgrims from around the world have been visiting the historic cave of Hira, where Prophet Muhammad is believed to have received his first revelation of the Quran. The site is now developed into a tourist attraction, and pilgrims take advantage to catch a glimpse of the new look. Our correspondent Sadiq Ilyasu, who is covering the Hajj in Saudi Arabia, now reports.
Four kilometers away from the Kaaba, Muslims' holiest place, is Mount Hira in Mecca, Saudi Arabia. There lies a cave where it is believed that the Islamic prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, received his first revelation of the Holy Quran. It is now a historical site where pilgrims troop to take a glimpse. This is my first time to be here at the Mount Hira, and I'm excited to be here because of the history behind the mountain which hosts the cave Hira. The pilgrims have the opportunity to learn Islamic history by watching on screens.
So the experience today is amazing. We visit the Gua Hira. So the Hira cave, it's when the Prophet Muhammad SAW received his first wahyu. So it's such amazing experience in all Hajj experience for me. So this is a very, very meaningful journey for me.
One of the officials explains the significance of the location in Islamic history.
Okay, so Allah Ta'ala said Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam to this nation of Muhammad to remind them about the purpose of their creations. So at the time of Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam, when in the Makkah people started worshiping idols and forgetting about the purpose of their creation, and Allah make the revelation to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, saying Jibreel alayhi salatu wasallam through this mountain of Hira that we are right beside. So all the people on the world trying to come here to visit the cultural center to see what happened at the time when the Arabs are confused in the fundamentals of their life religion.
This historic site continues to attract thousands of pilgrims each year, eager to connect with their faith and history. Sadiq Ilyasu, Channels Television News.
G7 leaders have approved a plan to fund Ukraine with $50 billion raised from frozen assets. It is hoped that the plan would give cash-starved and war-weary Ukraine another vital lifeline as it continues to stave off war with Russia. Here's Simon Puser with more international news in Around the World in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the Channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky says he expects important decisions to be made at the G7 summit of leaders from the 7 world's richest nations. A large part will be devoted to Ukraine, our defense and economic resilience, he said in a post. The White House says the G7 has made good progress on a US plan to use frozen Russian assets to raise $50 billion a year for his country. Mr. Zelensky, who will attend the summit, is also expected to sign new security deals with Japan and the United States. Italy's Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni has welcomed leaders of the world's 7 richest nations at the G7 summit in Italy. The ongoing war in Gaza, artificial intelligence and migration are also on the agenda. Hamas has pushed back after being criticized by US Secretary of State Antony Blinken for not yet accepting a ceasefire proposal, saying it had shown positivity towards the negotiations. The group said it had dealt positively with the latest proposal and all proposals to reach a ceasefire agreement. It said while Mr. Blinken continues to talk about Israel's approval of the latest proposal, we have not heard any Israeli official voicing approval. Mr. Blinken has repeatedly said that Israel has accepted a ceasefire proposal outlined by President Biden on the 31st of May. Argentina's Senate has narrowly approved President Javier Milei's controversial economic reform package, with the vote taking place as violent clashes raged between protesters and riot police outside Congress. Demonstrators in Buenos Aires, who say the measures will hurt millions of Argentines, threw petrol bombs and stones, setting cars alight. A number of people were reported injured, with local media describing the scene as a battlefield. The reforms aimed at reviving the country's flagging economy include declaring a state of economic emergency, cutting pensions, and watering down labour rights. Mr. Milei, a right-wing economist, was elected in the midst of a deep economic crisis which he is still struggling to stem after 6 months in office. The European Union's top court has fined Hungary €200 million for failing to follow the Union's asylum policies. The court will also issue a penalty of €1 million a day until it changes its policy. The European Court of Justice said Budapest was in breach of a 2020 judgment that it had violated EU laws by forcing asylum seekers to travel to Belgrade or Kyiv to apply for a travel permit to enter Hungary. Hungary's Prime Minister Viktor Orban, in a post on X, said the fine for defending the borders of the European Union was outrageous and unacceptable. The UN Refugee Agency says a record-breaking 120 million people have been forced to flee their homes by war, violence and persecution. The 12th year in a row the number has increased. The agency said the global displaced population is now equivalent to that of Japan. New conflicts in Sudan and Gaza contributed to the rise, which the UN Refugee Agency chief Filippo Grandi called a terrible indictment of the state of the world. He called on governments to tackle the root causes of the problem rather than politicizing refugees and turning to quick fixes, such as closing borders. Instead, he urged countries to work together for more durable solutions. India's foreign ministry has said at least 40 Indians are among 49 people killed in a fire at a residential building in the Kuwaiti city of Mangaff. The fire broke out on Wednesday in a building where dozens of workers stayed. Video on social media showed flames engulfing the lower part of the building and thick black smoke billowing from the upper floors. Most of the casualties are from the southern Indian states of Kerala and Tamil Nadu. Around 50 Indians have also been injured. Filipino and Nepali workers are also among the injured. And a huge fire has broken out at an oil refinery in Erbil in northern Iraq. Video shows plumes of smoke billowing into the air as the fire engulfs a warehouse building. Around a dozen firefighters are at the scene trying to control the blaze, which is thought to have started in the refinery's liquid asphalt warehouse. No casualties have been reported. However, local media report a number of people were injured. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.
Thank you, Simon. Welcome to Sports News. Chris Billam-Smith and Richard Riakpore have promised to give boxing fans a good show when they clash on Saturday night at Selhurst Park Stadium. Billam-Smith will defend his WBO cruiserweight title against the hard-hitting British-Nigerian boxer responsible for his single career defeat. During a walkout session in London, Riakpore confirmed he will use his Nigerian power against his opponent and bring home the world title. The Nigeria Football Federation, following its executive committee meeting earlier today, has resolved to employ an expatriate technical advisor for the Super Eagles in the coming weeks ahead of the AFCON qualifiers and the remaining FIFA World Cup qualifying matches. The NFF, however, remained silent on the position of coach Finidi George, who was appointed head coach of the team last month. The NFF will also rejig the technical and development subcommittee with immediate effect. The team, surprisingly, has not won a game in 4 matches in the 2026 World Cup qualifying series. That's it on sport. It's back to you, Ayotunde.
Many thanks, Chris. And the main news again. The 10th Senate today marked its first year anniversary as its spokesman, Yemi Adaramoju, reeled out its achievements.